It only took about a decade, but we finally have the California simulator. Finally, I can hit the streets of LA and fight the horde of homeless fentanyl addicts. 60 euro coins? No. This is a 40 euro coin game at best. 30 if you're being fair. I realized that a lot of dev time went into this game, but it's not my fault that a lot of it clearly went fucking nowhere. I had fun with the game, but not 60 euro coins worth of fun. Premise. You are a person boarding a plane, and then fun times with fentanyl happens and it crashes, and you get to choose one of 6 people to play as. I decided to pick the one that would be the least embarrassing to walk down the street with. Ryan. A hella buff man and realistically the only character that could swing weapons at LA residents for long periods of time. Now he goes into the United States of America's sewer to survive, find other survivors, and find a cure maybe, or whatever. Gameplay. California is a hellscape. There's a reason that it's called the failed state. Just going to the store means having to fight its various residents, such as the standard homeless druggies, the meth heads, left-wing activists, and the steroid users, to name a few. In this simulator, you have a lot of weapons to fight them off, and some feel very good, and some just get the job done, and some are just a bad joke, like the knife. A hammer gets the job done, but a sledgehammer, goddamn, that feels good. And the reason it feels good is because the zombies are so reactive to your hits. Not only in the physics sense, but also in terms of the gore. The gore system here is probably the best I have seen, and if you've seen better, please let me know. Hitting a zombie might rip their flesh off. I'm pretty sure I've punched a zombie's jaw off, and I regularly punch through their head. Hitting them with an acid weapon melts their flesh off, and of course you can cut limbs off with a sword and break bones with heavy weapons. That's what makes the combat feel good. Ripping the zombies apart and the fact that you can endlessly swing and stamina is only really used for the dropkick. I like that, but there are things about the combat that drag it down. Like zombies will do that standard throwing themselves on you and you have to slowly push them off. And that happens way too often, and it's just an annoying interruption to the gameplay. And it's also very easy to get out of. It's not even a challenge, just an annoyance. You also get knocked down, and that's really the same case. You don't really get punished for getting knocked down, it's just an annoying interruption. The game is actually all about parrying and blocking, and not swinging at zombies. You know, the fun part. It's pretty hard to have good positioning so that you don't take a lot of damage, and that's where the blocking comes in. I think you can block endlessly, but again, it's all about the parrying. Because you can get health back with a parry and a counter, and of course you do a lot of damage with them. And the parry timing is pretty damn generous, and it has to be, because some attacks come at you at lightning speeds. So you have to block for the parry the millisecond that you see a hint of an attack. Or just spam the block button hoping you parry one of the zombies in the horde. I'm fine with blocking and parrying, but not if it's the main mechanic of keeping you alive. I would much prefer it if positioning myself so I won't get hit was a more viable option, but it isn't like that here. Zombies are too fast and your character too slow. You also have the curveballs, like my favorite, the impact grenade. It's just the best, full stop. But you also have an electric throwing star and a Molotov cocktail. This is where we can talk about the 4 elements: water, fire, electricity, and acid. There's barrels of oil, acid, and water throughout California. This gives you the opportunity to use the environment against the zombies. These elements are also hazards for you, like an exposed wire in a puddle or an oil pipe leaking onto an active fire. Truly a failed state. You have guns and they're okay. I use them pretty rarely because of ammo scarcity and they don't do that much damage. I just mainly use them to shoot the kamikaze zombies. There's a level up mechanic, level up and you get more health and you might unlock a perk slot. And they use some cards for those slots and literally none of the art for those cards does a good job of communicating what they do. So you have to read them to remind yourself every time you open the perk screen. Okay, let's sum this up. I like the variety of zombies, I love the gore system, especially when you find the right weapons for it. There are some weapons that really shine when you hit zombies, like the brass knuckles. They're so goddamn satisfying, and they can be even more satisfying with the right weapon mod. There were some things that annoyed me about the gameplay, but the good parts kept me enjoying the game throughout my playtime. Story. Predictable is the keyword here. That's gonna happen, he's gonna do that, I'm gonna fall down this. And then it happens. Things you've seen 100 times before, but I never hated it. Because the story is just railroading you into zombie killing situations. And hey, that's the fun part of the game. And the foreshadowing was on the nose, so I was just waiting until the foreshadowed thing would happen. It's a serviceable story. I expected all the characters to be annoying Californians, but that was mostly relegated to the side missions. And the main cast ended up being mostly fine, with some likable characters in there. The more annoying part comes in when I have to find 4 things in a place to interact with to progress, which results in a lot of looking around for the one button or item that's out of place to progress the mission. It's another one of those things like the knockdown thing or the zombies throwing themselves on you. Does it really need to be there? Does it add anything to the game? Or does it just waste time and annoy you? In my opinion, it's the last one. The story is okay and pretty short, especially for 10 years of dev time. But that might be a blessing in disguise, because if it was longer, I probably would have gotten bored of it.
Hey, look, you can trust me.
Conclusion. Okay, I'll be completely honest. The only reason I bought, played and reviewed the game was just to shit on California. But killing the zombies here was surprisingly fun, and an aspect of the game that was executed mostly well. It is held back by the parry spam to survive and the difficulty in positioning yourself, but I still had fun with it. But beyond the zombie killing, there's not much else here, and that's not worth $60 or euro coins. I'd say $20 would be the fairest price to the devs and the consumers, especially with money becoming tighter and tighter. And I could probably find the game at the $20 range that offers far more deep gameplay. It might not look as pretty, but if I have to choose between pretty looking but shallow gameplay, or okay looking but great gameplay, the gameplay wins every time. I recommend the game at a very generous sale, probably $10 if I only want to be fair to the consumer. And I give the game an Alaska out of Texas. Subscribe, call me Uncle Brian, and have a fine day.